Lights, camera, action.
And the winner is...
Welcome back to the Oscar Reel Movie Podcast with Haley and Matthew Schmidt. Today is quarantine podcast episode number 7, I believe.
Yep. Hashtag quarantine life.
Yes, exactly. Today we are talking about the movie from 2019, Honey Boy, which was written by Shia LaBeouf, kind of based on his life with his dad growing up. Where did we find this one? Prime?
Yep, Amazon Prime. I think it was just like an Amazon movie.
Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, that's where we found it. It stars Shia LaBeouf. He actually plays like the role. So this, I mean, like the character, his name is not Shia. Like it's kind of yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's kind of loosely based on his life and stuff. So Shia LaBeouf plays like the guy who kind of represents his father. And then Hedges plays the older version of like Shia LaBeouf, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then Jupe plays like the younger version of him.
Yep. So yeah, like you said, written by Shia LaBeouf, directed by Alma Har'el. Just for reference, this was a 7.4 on IMDb, and then Rotten Tomatoes is 94% for the critics and 92% for the audience. So pretty good marks overall from the audience and critics alike for this movie. Yeah, what are your thoughts on it? Where did you want to start with Honey Boy?
So yeah, maybe we can kind of talk about like how this movie was kind of set up. So it kind of goes back and forth between, like it starts with Hedges in like kind of like the 20-something-year-old range where he's doing like action movies and stuff, and they show him drinking, he gets in a car accident, and most of the rest of his story is like him in rehab. Mm-hmm. And then we also go back to when he was a kid, like 12 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of living with his dad in like this crappy hotel apartment thing while he's working on like a TV show set.
I think they're just trying to like find him work. Like he's doing small things here and there. Yeah. And he's constantly looking in the newspaper or like trying to find things to audition for.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like where we see like the two storylines and stuff. And so yeah, a lot of the times when you have like the younger version, like the flashbacks, you see like the dad on set, he's like trying to be super engaging with all the other people on set. But you know, when they get back to the apartment and stuff, like you see it too when he's in front of other people, but he's just like super hard on his kid, and he's just really a pretty terrible father.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And also, just quick note, I don't know if this meant anything or not, but the first 2 times you see Hedges as Otis and Noah as Otis, they're both wearing a harness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I don't know if that's...
For like special effect stunt type work.
I don't know if that's supposed to represent anything, that like Shia felt that way, like in real life, like he felt, I don't know, like he wasn't free in some way.
And in both situations too, like he can't get the harness off himself.
Yeah, he needed help doing it. So don't know if that's a metaphor or not, but it's just something I noticed off the bat. But yeah, I mean, this movie is carried, in my opinion, I think Shia playing his dad's character is the highlight of the film. Mm-hmm. I think, as nasty as he is, I think that's where the attention-grabbing scenes are and where, like, the intrigue is. Noah, I think, is really great as the 12-year-old version of him as well. Not that, we know Hedges is a great actor. He's an Academy Award nominee for Manchester by the Sea. He's great in his roles, but for me, the intrigue were, like, the younger days.
Yeah. And that's where most of the time in the movie is spent, too, is the younger days, yeah.
Yeah, so, just seeing how Shia's character, like the dad, like just treats his son and talks to him, and how it's weird because you sympathize with him to an extent, because there's a scene towards the end where he's like, how would you feel, like how do you think I feel having my son be my boss? But like, I mean, he clearly takes it too far, but he's still a character you can sympathize with on some level, even though he is, terrible most of the time. So yeah, it was pretty tough. Apparently Shia, he got the rights from his dad to like do this by telling his dad that Mel Gibson was going to play like him in the movie, but
Oh my God.
But then he just didn't do that. He just played it himself.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't look into this at all, but I wonder what their relationship is like now.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think I tried looking into it a little bit. I mean, I probably could have dug a little harder, but I couldn't find too much on it. I think from what I remember in interviews and stuff when this movie is coming out, that their relationship is okay now. Like they talk, I think, now. But before this movie was made, or during the making of this movie, he hadn't spoken to his father in 7 years.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that seems totally understandable if we're to believe the type of like way they interacted with each other.
Yeah.
Because you're right, like you bring up the fact that the dad is kind of like, how am I supposed to feel knowing that my 12-year-old kid is my boss? And the kid kind of throws at him too. He's like, Dad, you wouldn't be here if I didn't pay you to be my chaperone. So it's like there's like that situation creates like sympathy on both sides, but also just like complete just like sadness too. Just like this kid realizes his dad wouldn't choose to be there to actually spend time with him, and on the flip side the dad's like, my life sucks so much that my 12-year-old is paying me with his per diem that he gets from like his TV sets and whatever. So yeah, there's some dark stuff in this.
Oh yeah, and Shia, like, he dives right, I mean, he goes for it all the way. I mean, the way he looks in this movie, like, he just looks like a different person. Like, obviously, you can tell it's Shia, but, like, his hair just looks disgusting. He's got those round circle glasses.
Talks with, like, a thick southern accent.
Yeah, like, he just... Man, and yeah, his dad, like, I mean, hopefully things are better now, but, like, if we just look at this movie and that character and we just disconnect that might be a real person, like, some of the things he says to a 12-year-old kid, I mean, this is really shitty.
Oh
like,
my God.
He's, like, making fun of a 12-year-old because, like, his dick is too small or something. He goes, here, this is a man's piss. And I'm like, you are talking like a person who is compensating for something right now. Like, oh my God. Or when he, like, throws the Big Brother character, because, like, Otis's mom, the character's name is Otis, his mom has him in a Big Brother program because she doesn't think that Otis's dad is a good enough, like, role model for him. So,
which is correct.
I would agree with that. And so in the movie, what's his name, Clifton Collins Jr. is the actor's name. He plays Tom, which is like the big brother for Otis, and he shows up at the hotel one day, and what's the dad's name? James just starts saying racial slurs at him and yelling at him and tells him to stay away from his son and throws him in a pool, and it's just like he just flips a switch like that. It's just nuts.
Yeah, and it's like he just keeps making like bad decision after bad decision. Like he he says he's been sober for however many years, but like, and in one of his like Narcotics Anonymous meetings, he talks about, he's like, my nose is completely destroyed and plugged up from all the cocaine that I did. Like, my nose is useless. And so you show him, like, trying to get high in a bathroom later, like, huffing shit. And you're just like, God, like, and he just, leaves his kid by himself for the night and comes back the next day and just, like, beats him up. And you're just like, God, this is terrible. And, we kind of see the more grown-up version of Otis when he's in rehab. And he just, like, each situation that he's in, so, like, when he's sitting at the pool, they're doing, like, therapy sessions in the pool, and he just sits there and he flashes back to, the moment where his dad throws, like, his big brother guy, like, into the pool, and just, like, other bad memories and stuff, and so you realize that he's got some deep-seated stuff going on.
Yeah, and no, for sure, and I think this movie is helped by the fact that that this is like stuff that happened to Shia LaBeouf, because it makes you understand like how crazy, like the reason he is the way he is. 'Cause I think for a couple of years there, Shia was maybe the butt of some jokes of like, man, he's gotten crazy. Yeah. Like, that's weird. The kid from Even Stevens and Holes is like an insane person now. What a messed up person. But like, I think this movie is helped by the fact that that this is based on his life, because now you can be like, oh, well, yeah, that's why.
I get it.
That's why he is the way he is. And he could have turned out so much worse.
Oh my God.
If the stuff in this movie is half true or mostly true, like he could have turned out worse, or he's lucky that he like found a way to like
to manage all the
and
things he's been through.
And if writing this script helped like some kind of therapy of like releasing some of it, then great, like it helped. But yeah, I think this movie is helped by the fact that it's Shia's life, because you can kind of connect after the fact.
For sure.
In saying that, I was actually kind of expecting, because this movie basically just takes place at a hotel.
Yeah.
And then the rehab center. There really isn't a whole lot else other than that. I was expecting to see some like Even Stevens set and Transformers set. Like there's a little bit at the very beginning, but I was expecting like to see, like, not saying I like or dislike the movie any more or less because of it. I expected to see like some more things like that into it, but it's really just focused on his dad and the relationship with his dad, and apparently most of that happened before he kind of so-called hit it big with Even Stevens.
I want to get your opinion on this, because like we've said, they didn't focus a lot about the older version of him, like in rehab. And for me, it's like, this is a fairly short movie. It's like an hour and a half. I feel like there were a lot of open ends with like the rehab stuff.
Yeah, they didn't focus on it a whole lot. And I felt like, while this movie, it was an hour and a half. And even though I felt like some parts of it even felt like they were dragged, I don't want to say dragged out, that's too negative, but like, it was an hour and a half. I felt like some things could have been cut out, but there are some things that could have been expanded upon. And the Lucas Hedges timeline of it could have been one of those things for sure, because they don't spend too much time there. There's a little bit of time there, but not a ton.
Like one scene I think of in particular, so like, and he's kind of sitting on the sideline, not really participating in like the pool therapy thing, the guy that's leading it. He's like, hey, Otis, I think it'd be really good for you to just like go out into the woods by yourself and just scream, like just yell as loud as you can. And he kind of shows off like, yeah, okay, whatever. But he ends up doing that, and you can see like all this emotion start to come out of him. And so when he walks back to the rehab place, he goes back up to that guy and he's like, hey, yeah, I just did that, and like it felt good. And the guy's like, are you acting right now? And he's like, well, aren't we all acting? I'm like, oh my God, I feel like that's such a like Shia LaBeouf response to things. We're all acting, aren't we? And the guy's like, okay, well, are you being sarcastic with me or are you being truthful? And he's like, a little of both, and just walks away. And you're like, okay, like I would have liked to see like another interaction with the two of them again.
Yeah.
Or like to see like some actual, like, I mean, I guess, yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, there are a couple characters. His roommate, they had him in like one or two scenes, and they didn't really expand on that too much. The therapist was one character, and like, this is real life, so I mean, maybe he just didn't connect with his therapist in real life and didn't want to put it in a script, but it is still a movie, and that was one character that I felt like wasn't expanded upon too much. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, like I said, it was nice to see. I mean, kind of at the end, like you had a sense of like both the young version and the older version of him kind of has this sense of like they knew where they were going, and like they felt okay with like what their next step was going to be, but it didn't feel like things were tied up. Maybe that's how he meant for it to be. Like, hey, everything's open-ended and things change.
Yeah, or even as a kid, he has the friend, what's her name?
Oh, I don't remember.
Who she played by?
Oh, she's literally just titled as Shy Girl.
Okay. Him or Shy Girl and Otis connect as friends, and at the end they are shown kind of having fun with each other, connecting, or hugging and stuff like that. And I'm like, where's that character today? Maybe she just doesn't exist and was a made-up character or something, but I don't know. That's just me thinking.
Yeah, it's in his younger years, it's kind of like his one friend, if you can even call her friend, because she's, probably a good 8, 9, 10 years older than him, probably.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what is this 12-year-old kid, hanging out with this girl, they're more than friends, but not quite kind of thing.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe it's as simple as just after he moved out of the hotel, he just never saw her again.
Right,
and
that's very possible.
She was just the necessary friend that he needed at the time.
Sure.
That's probably what it is. I would be more so intrigued on expansion in the Lucas Hedges future timeline, because the Noah, the 12-year-old Otis timeline is, I think, the best part of the movie, because that's really the only time you see Shia playing his dad. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know, what score would you give this?
I think I'd give it a 7.6. It's I think for some of the reasons I mentioned, some things were just a little left unanswered, or I wish there would have been more expansion on stuff. But the acting is really good. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, 7.6 is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm very close. I'm looking at a 7.8 for it. I think the good parts of it are really good. The tough scenes to see are really well done and really well acted. Overall, it's just really well acted. But there were just some little things, and maybe it's Shia's first script, so maybe it just needs work. But I remember Clifton Collins Jr., his character, the Big Brother character. Yeah. We had to look up to see that he was what his relationship to Otis was, because they don't really explicitly say it. He kind of just shows up, and it's well, that could have been explained a little better,
right?
Or some of the other things we've talked about maybe could have been fleshed out a little better. But listen, it's his first script, and the stuff that are really personal to him, he did really well, and that part's done really well. So this is a good movie overall.
Yeah.
But some things could have been done a little better. One thing, do you think Shia LaBeouf could have gotten an Oscar nomination for playing his dad, Best Supporting Actor? There were some hints at people thinking that was a possibility.
Yeah, possibly.
I think the only issue with that is it was such a strong year this year. I mean, you had Joe Pesci, Al Pacino for The Irishman, and then Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt, who won for Once Upon a Time, and then I can't remember who was the fifth one, but it was a really strong year for that category. So
if it was something kind of like they do with the Best Picture. Oh, if you nominated between 5 and 10 every year, I think he would make it. But when it's top 5 in a year like this, that'd be tough to make the cut. Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. And then Tom Hanks was the fifth one for Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. So just really strong category this year.
For sure.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the movie?
No, none for me.
No? All right. My last thing is just a little piece of trivia. Apparently, and they kind of show it in the movie, but he did start writing this script while in rehab.
Oh, nice. And they show some of that in the movie too, that he's writing, he's at least writing down conversations that he had with his dad.
Mm-hmm. And then apparently filming started for this movie 2 weeks after he got out of rehab, so they started making it pretty quick.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, that's Honey Boy. Watch it on Amazon Prime Video. I definitely think it's worth the watch. It is short. It's only an hour and a half, so I mean we're all stuck inside anyway. So just turn it on and let us know what you think. Follow us on social media at OscarReelPod on Twitter and Instagram. Send some suggestions and what streaming network some movies are on. If if you want to. I mean, we're sitting inside. We've got time to watch some movies, so send us some suggestions. Other than that, subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. And that's all we got today. So tune in, see what we release for our next episode. And yeah, from Matt and Haley, this has been the Oscar Real Movie Podcast, Quarantine Life.